AI chatbots can draft convincing attacks as easily as helpful emails. Here's how that shifts risk and what you can do about it. AI chatbots feel like magic in daily work. They draft emails, translate code, and debug scripts in seconds. But those same powers can be twisted by criminals to speed phishing and cobble together malware components. This video separates hype from reality and gives leaders practical defenses you can start today. We'll follow real signals, explain attack techniques, and show concrete controls that stop misuse. First, what exactly can language models really do for attackers? Soon, language models don't understand systems like an experienced hacker. They predict likely text from massive examples. That lets them produce plausible code snippets, tidy logic, and explain errors quickly. It also means they can hallucinate details, fabricate APIs, or suggest unsafe shortcuts. In permissive or unfiltered models, these mistakes become dangerous tools. Next, we'll examine jailbreaking, prompt injection, and evasion. Jailbreaking a chatbot looks a lot like social engineering. An attacker crafts prompts that trick the model into dropping safety filters. They use roleplay, stepwise instructions, or hidden context to coax banned output. Prompt injection works when attacker-supplied text inside a web page or document hijacks a model's behavior. These are not theoretical tricks. Researchers have shown they work under certain conditions. Where do attackers get permissive models and tools to run these experiments? Next, black hat marketplaces quickly filled the gap. In 2023, services like WormGPT and FraudGPT appeared, marketed as uncensored assistants for crafting phishing and simple malicious code. Security firms found early proof-of-concept misuse, and reporters documented ads selling these tools. Europol and national agencies began assessing the threat and sharing guidance. These signals matter because they show demand, experimenters, and commerce. Let's examine examples soon. Researchers found outputs that looked credible but were often flawed. Checkpoint and other labs produced proofs showing simple scripts, scaffolding, and phishing copy created by chatbots. /Next traced marketplaces offering tailored templates for email campaigns. Those artifacts were rarely polished malware masterpieces, but they were usable at scale by motivated criminals. That gap between imperfect output and real harm points to one vector: how AI amplifies social engineering at scale, which we'll unpack next. Soon, phishing becomes deadlier with AI because personalization scales. Models can mimic industry jargon, match a finance director's tone, and craft deadlines that feel urgent. One attacker can produce hundreds of variants in minutes. Combine that with lookalike domains and timing data, and BEC attacks get tighter and faster. AI also helps translate or refactor code for attackers. Coming up now, we'll dig into how AI assists actual malware development. LLMs excel at plumbing and scaffolding. Attackers use them to write setup scripts, parsers, and connectors that stitch tools together. They refactor snippets between languages, add comments, and sometimes suggest obfuscation to hide intent. This reduces grunt work and accelerates iteration. But models hallucinate and miss environment-specific details. Building resilient, stealthy malware still needs testing, debugging, and operator skill. We'll measure that next. Defenders don't stand still. AI copilots speed triage by summarizing alerts, suggesting likely root causes, and pointing to relevant logs. Microsoft Security Copilot is one high-profile example of this assistive model applied to SOC work. Models also turn noisy telemetry into plain English, helping analysts focus. That same speed helps create and validate mitigations, but tools alone don't suffice. What operational controls stop AI-enabled abuse before it reaches your users? We'll cover practical controls next. Start where policy meets behavior. Write an AI-acceptable use policy that forbids pasting secrets into public models. Offer a vetted internal LLM with logging so people don't rely on consumer pools. Create a human review lane for sensitive prompts and outputs. Give developers least privilege and require approval for model access. Those steps cut the simplest risks. But high-impact attacks still move through identity and email systems, so tighten those controls next. Coming up, lock down identity now. Enforce multi-factor authentication, especially for finance and admin accounts. Deploy email protections that detect impersonation, lookalike domains, and payloadless BEC techniques. Configure DKIM, SPF, and DMARC correctly to reduce spoofing. Run realistic phishing simulations built with contextual AI to train staff, not shame them. Those measures blunt the most common attacks. Next, we'll examine how data leakage and app controls can amplify or mitigate AI risks, coming up in detail shortly. Prevent exfiltration by monitoring what users paste into chat windows. Deploy DLP at endpoints, SaaS, and gateways to flag code blocks or secrets. Use an LLM gateway pattern. Centralize prompts, filter responses, and log activity for audits. Apply least privilege to autonomous agents, limit network reach, and data access. These controls reduce accidental leaks and intentional misuse. But API calls, dependencies, and cloud misconfigurations still matter. So we'll pivot to software hygiene next. Details coming up now. Treat AI-assisted code like any supply risk. Shift security left with static analysis and AI-assisted code review. But require human sign-off for sensitive commits. Keep EDR sensors active. Patch quickly and maintain vulnerability management discipline. Use SBOMs and provenance metadata to track third-party components and detect tampered packages. These practices make it harder for AI-powered repackaging or supply chain nudges to succeed. Next, we'll discuss detection, response, and how to operationalize these controls right away. Use AI to reduce analyst toil, not to replace judgment. Enrich alerts with model-summarized context, but require human approval before remediation actions. Build incident playbooks for AI-specific mistakes like leaked data or AI-generated phishing campaigns. Automate mundane tasks such as log parsing to speed response. Share indicators and patterns with peer organizations to improve collective defense. After you detect and respond, the next challenge is governance and procurement. What to ask vendors, coming up next soon. When buying AI services, ask direct questions. What alignment work has the vendor done? How do they monitor abuse and enforce policies? Where is customer data stored and how long retained? What rate limits and content filters exist? Require provenance metadata when possible. Contracts should include breach reporting and red team results. These terms shift risk back to suppliers. But what about researchers and jailbreaking debates? How do we balance transparency and safety? We'll cover good practices. Responsible curiosity matters. Red teaming finds flaws before release, but publishing exploit recipes risks misuse. If you research model weaknesses, follow coordinated disclosure and get permission. Keep experiments in isolated labs and synthesize data. Separate capability research from operational instructions. Focus public write-ups on mitigation, not step-by-step bypasses. With that ethos in place, teams can model likely attack scenarios we should watch in the next 12 to 24 months. We'll outline them and then mitigate. Security teams should model several near-term scenarios. First, AI-amplified BEC, polished, role-tailored executive impersonations. Second, localized deepfake persuasion for phone or video scams. Third, faster malware reskinning where commodity payloads get refactored. Fourth, supply chain nudges via AI-generated code suggestions. Fifth, data leakage from employees pasting sensitive content into public bots. Sixth, misbehaving agentic tools chaining actions without proper sandboxing. Next, with concrete steps now. For AI-amplified BEC, enforce MFA and modern email protections plus targeted phishing drills. For deepfakes, use out-of-band verification and voice authentication where possible. For code reskinning and supply chain threats, require code review, SBOMs, and provenance checks. For data leakage, apply DLP and LLM gateways. For agent risks, sandbox and restrict tool access. Technical controls matter, but culture and reporting channels amplify their effect. Praise early reports, make secure paths easy now. Culture decides outcomes. Praise people who report mistakes immediately and protect them from punishment. Provide approved tools that match consumer convenience so people use the safe path. Run short sessions explaining why secrets pasted into public bots can cascade into breaches. Reward security-minded choices in performance reviews. These human measures reduce risky behavior dramatically. Beyond teens, collaboration with industry and regulators shapes standards. So let's survey the policy landscape next, including international standards and toolkits with oversight. Governments and industry are acting. The Bletchley Declaration signaled global coordination on AI risk. Standards like C2PA work on provenance, and SAFE focuses on secure AI development. NIST's AI RMF gives practical risk guidance. MITRE Atlas catalogs AI-related adversary techniques for defenders. These resources provide playbooks and vocabulary for procurement and audits. They also guide ethical research. Next, we'll summarize how curious security teams can learn without enabling harm in safe legal environments with oversight. If you experiment, do it responsibly. Use isolated labs and synthetic data to avoid leaking production secrets. Coordinate disclosure with vendors and affected parties when you find vulnerabilities. Publish findings that prioritize mitigation and obscure operational details that could enable attackers. Share defensive tools and patterns instead of exploit recipes. This approach keeps curiosity productive. Now I'll pull the main takeaways together so you and your team leave with an action plan coming next now. Top takeaways. AI can help generate code and scale phishing, but it doesn't automatically create flawless, undetectable malware. Guardrails reduce risk but aren't perfect. Defenders gain the same advantages: faster triage, better log analysis, and improved code hygiene. Practical controls, AI policies, MFA, DLP, LLM gateways, and human reviews go a long way. Next, I'll list a concise set of first actions security leaders can take this week that are practical, low-cost, and actionable this week now. Immediate Week 1 actions. Publish an AI acceptable use memo and communicate it widely. Stand up a vetted internal LLM with logging. Enforce MFA on all critical accounts. Tighten email protection and deploy impersonation detection. Roll out DLP rules to stop secrets leaving endpoints. Create an incident playbook for AI-related mistakes. These 6 moves reduce exposure fast. I'll recap the big signals and then offer resources for deeper reading in the show notes and resource page. Quick recap. Signals show adversaries experiment with chatbots, marketplaces sell permissive models, and researchers demonstrate proof-of-concept misuse. AI speeds personalization and code plumbing, which raises risk even if outputs are imperfect. Defenders can use the same tools responsibly and adopt concrete controls. Share these findings with peers and run tabletop drills to see gaps. The technology will keep evolving. What will the next generation of attackers try, and how will we respond? Stay alert and collaborate. Thanks for sticking with this deep dive. If you lead security, start with the Week 1 checklist. Document policies and stand up logging for internal AI use. If you're a researcher, practice responsible disclosure and favor defensive outcomes. Share your questions or lessons in the comments so others can learn. I'll keep updating resources as signals change. If so, subscribe and check our guides today. If this helped, like the video, subscribe for updates, and comment one risk your team will address this week so others can learn from your plan.